Welcome to the Learn Spanish Con Salsa podcast, the show for Spanish learners that love music, travel, and culture. Close your grammar textbooks, shut down the language apps, and open your ears to how Spanish is spoken in the real world. Let us show you how to go from beginner to bilingual. Here is your host, certified language coach, Tamara Marie.
Hola, bienvenidos al episodio 106. Welcome to episode 106 of the Learn Spanish Con Salsa podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who participated in our Spanish Fluency Goal Setting Challenge over the past week. I really have enjoyed helping everyone with their goals, and for those of you who attended our live workshop last Thursday, I was able to give you some specific feedback on how you could tweak your goals to make them more effective, so I hope that you all found that helpful, and again, thank you for taking the time to join me. And for those of you who are in our Facebook group, and if you're not, you can go to learnspanishconsalsa.com/Facebook to join our group. But I've also been hopping in there. I've done a couple of Facebook Lives. I've been giving you all feedback as well on specific goals as it relates to listening comprehension, grammar, conversation skills, and all of that. So if you missed the goal setting challenge, you go, what is she talking about? Or you started at the beginning of last week, but you didn't quite finish, you can still catch up. So over the next week, you will still have access to all 5 days of the challenge. Just go to SpanishConSalsa.com/2021. So SpanishConSalsa.com/2021. You still have about a week. We'll keep it up so that you can access all the videos with all the instructions and activities, so you can plan out your next week and your next month and your next quarter and your next year as you progress towards Spanish fluency. So make sure you check it out. I will still be popping into the Facebook group to give some more feedback this week for those of you who have some catching up to do. And congratulations to everyone who's won prizes for participating in the challenge. I hope you all enjoyed that as well. Before we get started with this week's episode, I want to share a listener review that we received on Apple Podcasts. And this is from the username Siempre el Estudiante, and it is a 5-star review, so gracias. And it says, just what I wanted. One reason for wanting to learn a language is to get a deeper understanding of the culture, whatever that might be. Well, guess what? Spanish Con Salsa's got it. It's the perfect match for my love of salsa music and my motivation for learning the language. Gracias Siempre el Estudiante for the 5-star review. And don't forget, you can always leave us a review. Just click on the link in the description of the podcast or on the show notes page, and you'll be able to leave a review in Apple Podcasts. So gracias Siempre el Estudiante. We are continuing our Black Expat series with a conversation with Kayla Rodriguez, and she's going to tell you all about life in the Dominican Republic. Now, you might remember hearing this name before because Kayla has been on the podcast before. She was on episode 35, so you can go back and listen to that if you want to hear my first interview with Kayla. But in this episode, we talk all about how she decided to move to the Caribbean. We talk a little bit about what the cost of living is like and if it's really safe for expats in the DR. I know that was a concern. People always ask, it was the number one question I got in our Facebook group. When I asked, what do you want to know about living abroad? Everyone is concerned about safety, especially people moving from the U.S. So it's something that we touch on. We talk about safety on the island. Now, Kayla is a member of Spanish Con Salsa, our membership and our group coaching community. And when she first joined, she was really shy about speaking Spanish. And it's been so great to watch her grow in her confidence with the language. You can go back and listen to episode 35 when she first appeared on the podcast and was just getting comfortable with traveling abroad on her own. And now she's actually made the move overseas. I hope her story will inspire you, and stick around to the end of the episode if you want to hear more about how you can join the Spanish Con Salsa Fluency Club and get the support you need to get fluent in Spanish this year. So with that, let's get started with my conversation with Kayla. Hola Kayla, bienvenida otra vez a Podcast Learn Spanish Con Salsa.
Hola Tamara, ¿cómo tú estás? I was going to say, ¿cómo tú estás? ¿Cómo estás?
With your Dominican Spanish already. ¿Cómo
yeah, I know.
Well, it's good to have you back. I know it's been a little while since we've spoken. I know last time we spoke, you had just taken a trip to Puerto Rico, and I was actually in an expat group for people who live in Dominican Republic on Facebook because I was looking for people to interview for the podcast for the Black Expat series, and you popped up like, hey, I moved to DR, and I was like, what? We have to catch up. So I'm glad you could join us again, and you're in DR right now. So yes, tell us a little bit about how you ended up moving. How did you go from just kind of visiting to actually deciding that you were going to actually move and live in Dominican Republic?
So the last time that I had came before, I came at the end of July of this year, but I came also last year for Christmas and then left like a week after New Year's. So when I was here for Christmas, they were just, I call them close family because I'm always with them. And they were like, well, since you're always here, I mean, friends even in the States were saying that you're always back and forth, like every 2 months, you're always back and forth from DR. Why don't you just get a place here? And it's always been in the back of my mind, but it was just, I didn't know how to go about it to make that move. And can I see myself living over here? Because it is different from Puerto Rico, where Puerto Rico, that was like my first place that I did want to move was Puerto Rico. But over here, since it was more, I feel like DR is more laid back than Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico, to me, is more Americanized. It's expensive. But I don't know, it's just something about Dominican Republic where like the people are just so, it's my happy spot. Everybody's just so giving and loving and they want to help you. And I don't know, it's just, and then when I would leave DR and go back to the States, I would just be like, it's like I was homesick. Like I was like kind of, oh, let me book my next, when can I book my next trip to come over here? So when I had left in January, me and my son, because I had brought him for the first time here, when I had left, I just went home and thought about it, did some research. I actually joined like some expat groups like on Facebook for people that were transitioning to move over here or had already moved over to the DR. Mostly like people from the United States. So I was just trying to do my homework and research on that. And then I was like, okay, you know, a person that I knew over here, she's American. She actually lives in Cabarete. She and her son had moved over here and she was just giving me information about how to go about it. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'll come back in March, but COVID had hit. So that held me up, but I ended up making it, you know, back over here in July. And I found a nice apartment in Santiago and yeah, just to get everything settled in there where it was comfortable and just to be here for a longer time to know that this is where I want to be, you know, where it's just, you know, sometimes you go on vacation. Vacation is different because you're enjoying yourself and, you know, but to actually live here, I just needed to make sure.